Hey guys, it's me, Simple Programmer, and welcome back to the Java Game Programming series. And today we'll be creating our player, and with it the controls that it's needed. So like jumping, moving, and yeah. And we also add collision with blocks. So let's get started. So first thing we're gonna have to do is go here, and I'm just gonna copy this test and paste it in the same package, but instead I'm just going to name it player. So we can delete test now. Yes. So now let's open up player. And if player will open. No, there we go. And you can just remove this. And here, instead of just setting the width to 25 and the height to 25, in our game object, I'm gonna make a protected int width and height, and I'm also gonna create getters and setters for those. Wait, actually, yeah. So there we go. Move these down here. There we go. So now let's go back to our player. And I'm just gonna, in our constructor, I'm just gonna set width is equal to 32, height is equal to 64. There we go. So now instead of 25 for width, I'm gonna set it to width, and same thing here. So now in our game, I'm gonna actually add our player. So handler.add object new player. Control-Shift-O to import player, and for its x, I'm going to set it to game.width divided by 2 minus 16. Minus 16 because that's half of the player's width, and for the height, I'm just going to set it at 50, and id.player. I went ahead and removed the id for test. I also commented out the FPS because it became annoying. So there we go. And now let's go back to our player. And now if we run, you can see that we have a player, but if we click stuff, press stuff on our keyboard, it doesn't move. So let's create another class in our framework. New class key input. And here we're gonna do extends key adapter. Don't know what happened to my mouse then. Key adapter. So Control-Shift-O to import key adapter, and let's make object for handler because we're gonna use that. Let's make a constructor public key input, and here handler, and in our constructor we're gonna set our handler is equal to handler. So this handler is equal to handler, and there we go. And now we're gonna create two methods: key pressed and key release. So I'm gonna add the override annotation because those methods exist in key adapter, and I'm gonna do public void key pressed with something called key event e. That's just our key event. So if we actually click a button, press a button on our keyboard, it registers it. So int key is equal to e.get key code. That basically we're just making an integer. We're calling it key, and we're setting it to e.get key code. So let's just say we press R. That button has a key code, and we're setting key to that. And now we're just gonna make another method: public void key released with key event e. And this is just saying if our key is released. So int e key is equal to e.key code. So if we press a button and we release it, that's when that will be called. And now let's actually create our key input. So we're gonna make the for loop, the same exact for loop that we made in handler. So for int I is equal to 0, I is less than handler dot object dot size. This is just so we can use a specific game object, and I plus plus. There we go. And we're gonna make a game object. Oh, whoa, that was messed up. Game object temp object is equal to handler dot object dot get I. So we're looping through every single game object we have, and we're gonna say if our temp object dot get ID, if our ID of our temp object is going to be equal to ID of the player, then we're actually going to start our key input. So we're going to say if key is equal to the key event dot vkd. So if key is equal to the key code of d, then we're going to set the velocity x of our player to 5. And same thing for A. If key is equal to key event dot vka, then we're going to set our temp object dot set velocity x to -5. Keep in mind this is also in our if temp object dot get ID is equal to ID dot player. So there we go. I'm also going to add another thing outside of our for loop. I'm just gonna set if key is equal to key event dot key event dot vk escape. This is, I'm just gonna do system dot exit 0. Now you can put anything into here, but normally 0 means that we exited normally, and 1 means that we exited abnormal. So now if we run, we should, if we press D and A, get absolutely nothing. But if we press escape, we still get nothing. There are two reasons for that. First, in our player, in our tick method, we have to do x plus equal to velocity x and y plus equal to velocity y. That's basically just saying, okay, we're adding to x how much our velocity x is. So if our velocity x is 5, we're adding to x by 5 every single time we call our tick method. And if it's -5, we're basically minusing x by 5. So it's going left. And also, in our init method here, we're going to have to do add key listener. That's part of our canvas. So, and we're going to do new key input, and inside the parameters of key input handler, and Control-Shift-O to import key input. So now if we actually run our game, we should get that our player moves left and right. And as you can see, if we press the button, it just keeps on going because we haven't actually added the stuff to our queue released. And if we press escape, we exit. Perfect. And so now here we're going to do the same exact for loop for int I is equal to 0. I is less than handler dot object dot size I plus plus. You can do game object temp object is equal to handler dot object dot get I, and then we're gonna do if temp object dot get d is equal to id dot player. Now you could just copy and paste this, but I'm just doing this so you guys can understand it more. We're gonna do if key is equal to key event dot vkd. Instead of setting velocity x to 5, we're going to set temp object dot set velocity x to 0. That's basically just saying, okay, if we let go of our d, key, then we're just going to set velocity x to 0. And same thing for a temp object dot, if key is equal to key event dot vka, we're gonna set velocity x to 0. There we go. So now if we run our game, we should get perfectly smooth movement. There we go. Might be a bit laggy in yours while you're watching this, but that's because of my screen recording software. And there we go. So let's actually add jumping now. Sorry, first we have to add falling. So in our game object, we're going to create 2 more booleans. So protected boolean falling is equal to, we normally set it to true, and protected, actually I'm going to do it on the same line, jumping is equal to false normally. So now let's go back to our player, and we're going to do here in our check method, we're going to do if we're falling or we're jumping, we're going to do velocity y plus equal to gravity. And let's actually make that float right now. So up here, we're going to make 2 things. We're going to do private float gravity. I'm just going to set it to 1. We can experiment with that later. And private final float, our maximum speed that our player can go, we're just going to set it to 10f because float. And there we go. So now we're going to also do if velocity y is more than maximum speed, max speed, we're going to set velocity y equal to max speed. That's just basically saying, alright, we can't let our velocity y go more than our max speed. So if it is more than our max speed, we're just setting it to our max speed. And here we're just saying if we're falling or we're jumping, velocity y, we're adding to velocity y gravity. So now if we run, you should see that our player accelerates while it's falling, but then it just stops when it gets to our max speed. So there we go. Now let's actually make another object, new class block. And you know what, we're not going to add jumping today because that's a bit more complicated, but we're just going to add our block class. So we're just going to do extends game object, Ctrl+Shift+O to import that, and add our constructor, and add unimplemented methods. And here in our constructor, we're going to set falling is equal to false because we don't want our blocks to fall. Unless you want to, then you can do that. In our render method here, I'm just gonna do g.set color color.white and g.draw draw rectangle. We're just gonna do x, y. I'll just do it 32 by, wait no, we can make our width and height up here. Width is equal to 32. Height is equal to 32. And we're just going to do width and height. Ctrl+Shift+O to import color. And we have to add casting to x and y because they're floats. Casting of integers. And there we go. So now I'm just going to go to my game. I'm just going to do handler.add object new. No, actually, I'm going to go to my handler and I'm going to make a method down here. Public void create level. And this is just temporary. We can remove this in later episodes. I'm just going to do for int I is equal to 0, I is less than game.width, I plus equal to 32, because that's how big our block is. And we're just going to do handler, not handler because we're already inside the handler, object dot add new block, and its x will be I. Its y, I'm just gonna set it to game.height -32, and id.block, which I'll make in just a second. So let's go to our ID, and let's add another one, block, and there we go. So now let's go back to our handler. Errors should be fixed if we save our ID. Control-Shift-O to import block, if you will. And now let's go to our game, and here I'm just going to do handler.createLevel, because we only need to create it once. And now if we run our game, you can see we got a bunch of blocks. And to make those more visible, I'm going to go down here to our render method. I'm going to do g.fill rectangle 0, 0, and width, and our height. So now if we run, you should, pull that up, get a perfect screen, some blocks, and our player is already gone out of the world. So that's gonna be it for this episode. And you know, actually, I'm gonna set gravity a bit lower so it goes slower, because I feel like gravity is too fast. Yeah, that's much better. So that's gonna be it for this episode. Hope you guys enjoyed. Next time we will crack on with jumping and collision with our blocks. So that's it, and peace out.